Welcome back to Nobody Told Me This Part Caregiving, Loss, and What Comes Next. I'm your host, Shelby Della Rosa. Today we're talking about how we begin to climb out of that empty abyss we discussed last week. We're talking about the awkward, messy, and beautiful process of finding your spark and remembering how to play. Let's take a breath together and begin. When my grief counselor asked me what I like to do for fun and my mind went totally blank, I knew something had to change. But I didn't suddenly wake up the next day knowing exactly who I was. I had to go looking for her. So I decided to do something completely out of the norm for me. I drove myself down to one of those paint-your-own-pottery studios. You know, the ones where they have rows of precast ceramic bowls, plates, mugs, that kind of thing, just waiting on shelves. You pick one out, sit at a table with a tray of paints, and just color it in. Then you leave it with them so they can glaze and fire it in the kiln. I sat there at that table, dipped my brush into the paint, and to my absolute surprise, I had fun. I had so much fun. I painted my own Shelby Has No Artistic Talent version of the song Bless This House on a plate. It was a little expensive though, and I knew I couldn't afford to make it a regular habit. But a tiny ember had been lit inside me. I wanted to keep going. So I went to the store and bought a simple pad of art paper and a few cheap tubes of acrylic paint. I took them home, sat down, and started to paint. Now, let me be completely honest with you. I sucked. I mean, I really sucked. My paintings were not masterpieces. But you know what? I loved every single minute of it. For the first time in 15 years, I was doing something that wasn't about medicine or schedules or caregiving or grocery shopping for someone else. I was just making a beautiful mess. And it was both beautiful to me and messy. But doing something just for myself brought up that old familiar shadow we talk about so much on this show, guilt. It felt incredibly strange, almost wrong, to feel a flash of pure pleasure in a life where my husband was no longer here. When that guilt started to creep in, I stopped and reminded myself of a beautiful truth. Rich used to indulge me whenever I wanted to try something new. Throughout our 21 years together, he was always my absolute biggest cheerleader. He genuinely believed I could do everything I set my mind to. I had to tell myself, Rich would have wanted me to find things to enjoy in my life. He would hate to see me sitting in the dark. In those early days of healing, borrowing his love and his permission was the only way I could bypass my own guilt. I leaned on the memory of his support like a crutch, and that was exactly what I needed until the day came when I was finally strong enough to admit that I wanted to paint simply because I wanted it for myself. If you're listening to this and your life feels completely gray, I want to challenge you to try one tiny, low pressure thing this week. Go buy a coloring book. Plant a single flower seed in a plastic cup. Buy a cheap watercolor set and make something that totally sucks. You don't have to be good at a hobby for it to heal you. The goal isn't to create great art. The goal is to remind your brain of what joy feels like. And if you feel that heavy wave of guilt trying to pull your hand back, borrow the permission of the person you lost. Remember, they loved you. They wouldn't want your life to end just because theirs did. Let their love be your cheerleader until you're ready to cheer for yourself. You're allowed to find your spark again. If you would like a little help along the journey, my 75-minute Who Am I Now session might help. No big homework, no fancy plans, just taking a step or two toward finding yourself and what you might enjoy in the here and now. The link is in the show notes if you'd like to check it out. Thank you for sharing your time and your energy with me today. Please remember that healing isn't about fixing your old self. It's about learning who you are now. Until next time, take it one breath at a time. Take good care of yourself. You deserve it.